how was your Robs after our last meeting, after our last podcast?
I mean, it was delicious.
Yeah.
I feel so. You can probably attest to this. So I'm not just like making it up on the spy or on the fly, fly. But I go to Rob's way too much.
I've heard.
And it's come to the point where like majority of the people know my order and I know them relatively. I know like I'm a weird guy. Like it's difficult for me to put a name to the face, but then once I kind of know you overall, then I can kind of stitch it together.
Sure.
Because for a while, like a long time, I just thought Austin's name was Steve. I mean,
Yeah, I look like a Steve.
Yeah, I see Steve. But besides the fact,
Steve Rogers.
Oh shoot, Captain America coming for you.
I'm the skinny version though.
But Rob's, it was really good. I love if anybody knows anything, it's like you see the Rob's menu, but there's so much secrets hidden within it.
Oh yeah, it's you don't really order from the menu when you order. You're like, I want potato in there. I want my sauces put in. I want a side of pistachios and an order of Mentos to go.
And then crumble all that up, shake it in a bottle, and then glaze it over top.
I heard that. We're looking at each other very deeply in the eyes yet again. Happens every episode.
We are in an intimate space.
We are in a very intimate space. We have mood lighting going on right now.
It's perfect.
We've recently discovered that instead of having like super harsh like overhead light like schools do, we have like 3 lamps here that we have not been using. And I feel kind of bad that we haven't used them yet. It'd be good for like photo lighting to like have the whole thing going. But this is a much more at home feel, and like we're in a studio. Exactly. So welcome to the studio that really isn't a studio. It's
perfect. It's perfect timing because what better way to talk about our creative stories than to be in an environment where we feel like we're at home?
Does that remind you of Cultivate or something?
Oh shoot!
I mean the one space that we tried to really get a good environment for that stuff.
Shout out to Tremor Press Building.
Woo-hoo. Awesome. So Gavin, I want to hear about your creative journey, your roots, where you were, where you are now, and where are you going. Give me the lowdown. Give everyone the lowdown on this Monday morning. What is Gavin about if we haven't talked about you enough?
I feel like it's always a difficult question for me to answer just because I'm always the type of dude that rather to know more about everybody else than rather kind of who I am, just because, I don't know, I feel always weird about that kind of stuff. And it's maybe because I'm just overly, exceedingly just humble. And that can be a negative thing for all those people that pride themselves from their humility. It's good to brag about yourself every once in a while.
Coming soon.
Exactly. Shout out our podcast episodes within the next couple of weeks. But creative story. So originally,
breathe.
I know, right? Breathe it in. But originally, so I started out as a musician. Throughout my life, I've been in and out of the hospital. I considered it my like second home for like the longest time as a young kid, because I was in it so much. But what other way to kind of take your creative endeavors into just so your insanity becomes actually sane than to be involved in something like music? It became my escape. I listened to, very, very old music, like all the way up to the modern music of the times, which at that time it was like Fall Out Boy and all that kind of stuff. Shout out to my emo headbangers. But so music was an escape to me. And so I could only really be confined to my hospital bed at the time. And so my family invested in getting like a really like small travel guitar, like maybe $70. And so I started there. And whenever I was outside of the hospital, I would be playing music because I couldn't run. I couldn't go outside with the rest of the kids, because if I did, I would have an asthma attack and be back in the hospital. So my creative venue and literally my sanity escape, and was music. And so I started creating through music.
Gotcha.
And so there's my family. I'm saying this for all of our podcast listeners as exclusive, but my family does have like old like MP3 tracks of me just like as a 10-year-old singing and playing guitar.
We'll add those in right now. Okay, now that you've heard it, just kidding. Haha, jokes
got
on you.
But that's where everything started. It was an escape, and I realized soon through lessons and things like that I enjoyed playing it outside of just trying to keep my mind sane.
Mm-hmm.
And that's somewhat of a dark kind of reason behind creating, but I feel like everybody has a reason, no matter if it's because of something that came out of darkness or that came out of light. And so I encourage everybody that's also listening, like, to learn and to heed that. Be like, if you start creating because of a dark moment in your time, it's just as equally important as a moment that is from light.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I started creating early age, and then from there, I mean, music has just been my thing. I mean, just constantly doing music. I mean, Living Word, I mean, I started actually doing venues and playing throughout Living Word because Chris Reeves offered me ability to play in a band. And so I was in a band for 5-6 years and
Heck yeah.
playing music as a 12, 13-year-old kid. I mean, like, it was crazy to me. And that's how I was able to harness my creative ability because I started so young.
It's so good to have like those enablers that like let you just do
Absolutely.
it. They say, hey, everything's provided. You take your time and do what you need to do.
I would not be the musician I am today without Chris Reeves.
That's a statement.
It's just point blank, point simple. I mean, my family encouraged me. I mean, everybody has those encouragers, but like you said, it takes that catalyst moment of somebody being like, I think you have it. We're going to run with it. Regardless if I was a 12, 13-year-old kid that had no musical ability or if I was the next like Bach. I mean, like that was the thing. That was the catalyst moment for me. And so I'm thankful for him. So shout out to Chris Reeves.
Yeah. Chris Reeves is awesome.
He is. He's an amazing
He's
man.
really good. So tell me more about maybe the middle of your what was the highlight of maybe up until today, and what's the low point up until today, and then we're going to talk more about recent and future.
And you're talking more about like the creative highs and lows.
Yeah,
correct?
there you go. That's better wording.
So I think a lot of this is attached to my health, and I think it's an important thing that I've realized a lot recently over the past couple of years is that our creative side is healthy when we're healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most simplest form of self-care. If you can't create from a place, you can, but you yourself physically and mentally will feel a lot of negative thoughts about what you just put out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so with my health, I mean, I would say I was hitting some pretty high moments, and then I went to a mission trip to Guatemala. And this was just coming off of playing a gig local to downtown York that I was just head over heels for. And then getting really, really like deathly sick. And through that, not wanting to create at all, because it's funny how sometimes the one thing that is your escape becomes a box. Because then you feel like, if I continue to do this, I mean, it's just that thing that I do when I'm sick. And so I was conflicted of whether or not I wanted to continue to do music, because what's the point of doing music if any time that I feel that I'm my most creative self is when I'm in the hospital? So almost it was that conflicting, like, I don't want to do this, but at the same time I do. And so, but through that's, I think, when we are being creative and we're hitting those low points, that's how we can hit one of our highest points.
Yeah.
And because we have to be broken in order to achieve full recovery and to heal and to hit those high points. And to me, that was recently after I started feeling better and getting healed and going through that process, because after that moment, and I was freshman in college, and it was raining, and that's when Silo began.
Was birthed.
Literally, like, from that low point of not really feeling like music is my thing anymore, even though years and years of time and dedication were put into it.
And you were really good.
I appreciate that. But hitting that high point at a rainy day at LBC and the library and being like, I might not really feel in the mood to create myself, but why not build a community where people can constantly get that encouragement?
Yeah. Seriously.
And so it's from that low point that I found that high point.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at now. Is
faux show, girl.
Like, Silo is my creative endeavor, because music it's becoming more of a job for me now. But still, it's my venue, but Silo has become a creative standpoint for me.
Yeah. Why do you think, or do you like music being a job, or would you like that to come back at some point?
And I think that's a great, that almost will become a podcast episode in itself, because it's difficult, because I think if we have to, it's a fine line. It really is. If creating is your job, you need to make sure that you can balance it and almost pendulum equal it out to the fact that, like, this is when I'm creating and this is when it's my job.
Yeah.
Because I think we can be quickly consumed by our creative outlets if it's money's involved.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's an honest truth that sometimes really hits home for people, because they're like, shoot.
You're put in a box, a salary box, a gear box of, yo, this is what we have, work with what we have and make something. And if it's put in a box of just, you only have this limited thing, and it's not like a personal project where you have unlimited time, possibly unlimited money, like funding for yourself kind of thing. If it's something that has a time frame, you're instantly knocked back with what you can do in that time period if you couldn't do that.
Exactly.
So do you think that you will find a way to bring music back into a more passion project-y kind of way?
Yeah. I definitely think so, because, and I hope so. I'm kind of at the point with my music where it's a job, but I would love to, like, be in a band.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would be so cool. Like, that's always been a dream of mine, is like, I can sing, I can play guitar, but I don't know if my singing capabilities are enough to kind of be a lead singer for a band. So I'm kind of like, just like, anybody's looking for a guitarist, like, that would be awesome. Because that would become, because my creative outlet before college and people moved away was sitting and jamming out with friends.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that, like, being able to be in that environment, even if you weren't a musician, like, those are some of the most intimate and deep moments of my life. We're just like, you sit around a campfire and, like, somebody has some instrument, like, I could plucking a guitar or, like, tapping on their feet. Like, it just adds a whole level of just comfort.
Mm-hmm.
And so a dream has always been, like, let's get, like, a band together that just loves to play around campfires. And just, like yo, just imagine just, like, chilling and listening to music and not much stress. And I hope that one day that does come to the point where I can enjoy those moments and be a part of something like that. Because I think it also brings up another point, is you have to figure out the moments where you will be in charge and a leader of something, of your creative endeavors, or just even outside of that, but then also find you have to balance it out with moments where you're not.
Yeah.
And so would be that moment.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So
What-
I guess that's in a nutshell.
What's coming
journey.
next for you though?
Mm,
You said
coming
Silo is where
next.
you're at now.
Yeah.
Music is a job.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
those going to be changed around? Is Silo going to become a further part of your life, as it already is one of the larger aspects of your
Yeah.
time?
I pray to God. I mean, like, so I'm gonna be the most real I think I've ever been on an episode before. But
Real talk, real talk.
I know, right? So I'm going through a transitional time in my life where I'm realizing through school the thing that I was constantly pursuing is not necessarily what I'm passionate about. And so now I'm changing that complete focus to something of organizational leadership.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm like, that's what Silo to me is something that I want to pursue more. So I'm getting the bachelor's degree to support it.
Let's go.
And so like that's what I want that to be the switch so that I can work at Silo and still be creatively fueled, but then like go home and play music rather than to be like, I got to play music cuz I got to get paid kind of thing.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's definitely a direction I see you going in.
Oh,
And
thanks, homie.
one thing that we didn't plan this, but I'm really appreciative of all that you do on the back end of Silo, because there's a lot that everyone doesn't see, and something that doesn't even need to be said, kind of thing. Like it's a lot of work for you, is what I'm trying to say, and getting that done. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm making you awkward smile right now.
Yeah.
This is your
I wasn't
episode.
planning
I'm
for
gonna
this.
I'm gonna say what I want.
Dude, you better be ready for
That's
the
what
next one.
I don't think you're ready for anything I'm gonna say. Okay, guys, thank you again for listening to us on your commute.
It's been real.
It has been real. We've definitely dug a little deeper into Gavin's past, present, and future.
Oh shoot.
So yeah.
One of the Christmas story.
Oh yeah, there's no ghosts in this one though. Hopefully.
Wait,
Hopefully we're not. I hope not.
Woo.
Oh, now I'm scared.
See, look, that was a ghost.
Mom, can you pick me up?
Wait, are the doors locked? Ha! Got
Okay,
him.
guys.
Okay, see ya.
Bye. Have a great week, guys. See you later.
Peace.